All right. Hey guys, I hope everyone is doing well. This is Rudy. Hey, I want to talk about the topic of comfortable slaves tonight. But before I do that, I wanted to mention a few things. The Texas Deacon and myself and my wife are enrolled in a Citizens Police Academy in our local community. And they offer a 13-week course. It's 3 hours every week where they educate us about the inner workings of the police department, and we're allowed to ask questions and to interact with them. And so my local sheriff, I recently gave him some material as part of, my activism to wake people up. But one of the things I gave him was this video right here, Agenda Grinding America Down. You guys see that? I think I incorrectly referred to this in my previous video as Agenda 21, which is not correct. It's just called Agenda. I think Agenda 21 is the depopulation effort. But this movie, Agenda Grinding America Down, is documented at agendadocumentary.com. And I can't stress how powerful this video is. I wish that they would upload the whole thing to either YouTube or their website. I've sent an email off to the producers asking them if they plan on doing that. But a lot of times, people can't handle, the hot button conspiracy theory issues. And so because they can't handle it, it becomes dangerous to bring it up, unsolicited in a conversation. But this video talks about the ties between Obama and Acorn and Cloward Piven strategy, rules for radicals, Saul Alinsky. And so I gave him this particular video, and it talks about how America is being destroyed from within, our moral fabric is being destroyed, the homosexual agenda, and it's just a very powerful video. And I hope at some point the producers allow it to be uploaded to YouTube or to their website because it's so powerful. But in addition to this particular video, I also gave him Project Red Pill from G. Edward Griffin's Reality Zone website. I also gave him Wake Up Call. I also gave him Oathkeepers.org DVD. I gave him a Pastor James David Manning business card. I gave him a Lieutenant Colonel Terry Lakin flyer. I gave him a copy of the Constitution with Infowars.com. So, I gave him an Oathkeepers newspaper. So, this was to our local sheriff, right? He doesn't know me from Adam. So he said he would take a look at some of the material, and I asked him, once you get a chance to take a look at it, please let me know what you think. So, if you guys don't see any videos from me and they put me in jail, you'll know what happened. But, seriously, I think he seems like a reasonable guy, and hopefully, he said that he's never heard of Oathkeepers, which kind of surprised me, but, hopefully this will waken him up to Oathkeepers, and maybe he'll, since he's the sheriff, pass it down to his deputies, and we'll see what comes of that. But one of the things I wanted to read regarding this book right here is called Rules for Radicals by Saul Alinsky, and he was the original community organizer. Clinton and Obama have both referred to Saul Alinsky, and I want to read you a quote of who this book was dedicated to. This is like on the dedications page, or it's a quote right at the beginning of the book. And I'll put it up here, but I don't know if you guys can see it, but look for the word Lucifer. You guys see that? Here goes. This is Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals. Before the book even begins, it says, lest we forget at least an over-the-shoulder acknowledgement to the very first radical from all our legends, mythology, and history. And who is to know where mythology leaves off and history begins, or which is which? The first radical known to man who rebelled against the establishment and did it so effectively that he at least won his own kingdom, Lucifer. And that's a quote from Saul Alinsky. And this is the first community organizer. These are ideologically the foundations that Obama bases his ideals on, and I think Clinton has done the same. So you may think it's cute, you may think it's a joke, but it's not a joke when they refer to Lucifer as someone to uphold, as someone to admire. And I feel like sometimes I've been put in the twilight zone, and that, the Lord is somehow testing me, how to deal with all the evil that I see. And why doesn't other people see it? And so I've got to the point where I'm just going to do the best that I can. I'm going to trust in the Lord, as Pastor Manning says, and I'm going to, at a moment's notice, if I have to, lay down my life. I don't know when that day will come. I got a sneaking suspicion that the Lord's going to keep me here for a long time, because we got a lot of work to do ahead of us, and I believe that He's got a plan and a purpose for me. But I'm not going to live my life in fear, and there's so much evil that I see. I know a lot of others see it as well, but the vast majority of people just seem blind to it. And I think, they've become comfortable slaves. They've forgotten that we have a Christian heritage in this nation, and we've moved away from it. And I've seen so many comments left on my videos that we do not have a Christian nation, we have separation of church and state. And while we may have separation of church and state, you are simply mistaken about this nation not having a Christian heritage. We do have a Christian heritage. There is an entire DVD set and an entire ministry that is put together by wallbuilders.org. I think it may be called wallbuilders.com. They've got DVD called America's Godly Heritage, and they've got video after video, and it's detailed to the nth degree about the Christian heritage that this nation has. And so you're going to hear people deny that just like they deny any other truth. Excuse me. But again, I don't claim to have the gift of prophecy, but just using common sense and looking ahead, we are in for some very bad times. I don't see people repenting like they should. I don't see people saying the things that need to be said. Obama is leading us down a path to destruction, and he's not the first black president. He's not even president, right? His mother was white. So when you say that he's the first black president, first of all, he's not black because his mother was white. And not only that, he's not president. He's not eligible to be president because, he doesn't meet the constitutional eligibility requirements. And I went to Belize recently on my wedding/honeymoon. And it was about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and I couldn't sleep. And I remember being out near the ocean, and our hotel had a Wi-Fi, which allows you to operate your laptop wireless. And so I was kind of messing around on the laptop, and I remember bringing up on Fox News website when Governor Abercrombie had said that he was going to go find the birth certificate and put all the birthers and constitutionalists to shame. And then he couldn't find it, and then he changed his story. That started to break loose, and I really thought that was going to open the floodgates. I really did. I guess I was a little naive at that. But I remember bringing up Fox News, and it was one of them. It was like they had 3 main stories, and sometimes they break their Fox News website into 3 main websites, and it had like something going on in the Middle East, and it had another story in the middle, and the third gigantic story was Obama's birth certificate and what's recently happened with Governor Abercrombie. And I wish that I had taken the screen capture of that, because I could have proved that they had it up there for at least a short period of time. But when I woke up the next morning, they had moved the story all the way to the bottom, and then it's faded away again. It's faded away because we have a news media that's controlled by corporate interest and also is afraid to confront this eligibility issue for whatever reason. They're absolute sellouts, in my opinion. They're cowards and sellouts. And, we were meant to have the media as the 4th branch of government, the legislative, executive, and judicial, and the media was supposed to keep tabs on everyone, and they were supposed to have equal powers, but no, that's all, everybody's just sellouts now. We have no righteous men in any degree of leadership in this country, and we are headed to destruction. And so when destruction comes, what I would ask you to please keep in mind if you're watching this video is don't look at the destruction and the suffering of man and turn around and cuss God. God has given us wisdom after wisdom in this Holy Bible book about what happens when you turn away from God and what happens when you turn away from biblical and ethical principles. And it's story after story of, people worshiping false gods, people compromising with the world, and death and destruction coming in. And this is not any different. And so when the hard times come upon us, and I don't know, exactly when it's going to occur, but we are in for some hard times. Don't be cussing God because we brought this on ourselves, and there are men of God that are out there letting us know. Pastor Manning is one of them. I happen to go to a church in South Dallas. Pastor Stefan Broden, he's preaching the Word of God, and I've tried to, put a bug in his ear that, his message needs to get out on YouTube. I mean, he gives a sermon every Sunday that just blow your doors off with nothing but truth. I mean, just truth, truth, truth. And it's great for the 30 people that are in there, but I told him, man, it's like, if at all possible, your words need to be captured and sent out to the world, because the world desperately needs to hear men of God who are speaking the word of truth. But in any event, I kind of went longer than I expected, but let me read these verses to you. And this is, if you can't learn history, you're doomed to repeat it. And we as an older generation have failed to teach our young people what made America great and why we were so blessed as a nation. But let me read Exodus. It's in Exodus chapter 14, verse 10 through 12. And this is when the Israelites had been led out and the Egyptians were chasing them, and Pharaoh wanted to kill them all. And when Pharaoh drew nigh, the children of Israel lifted up their eyes, and behold, the Egyptians marched after them, and they were sore afraid. And the children of Israel cried out unto the Lord. And they said unto Moses, because there were no graves in Egypt, hast thou taken us away to die in the wilderness? Wherefore hast thou dealt thus with us, to carry us forth out of Egypt? Is not this the word that we did tell thee in Egypt, saying, it's very important, listen to this, let us alone, that we may serve the Egyptians. In other words, they were saying to Moses, just leave us alone. We would have rather been slaves to the Egyptians. Let us alone in Egypt, saying that we may serve the Egyptians. For it had been better for us to serve the Egyptians than that we should die in the wilderness. You see, this stuff's been going on for a long time, and tyranny's been going on since the time of Christ and even before. And so there are many among us that would rather be comfortable slaves. They would rather be owned by another human being and be told what to do. And in this modern society, you may not think of yourself as a slave, but our monetary system and our tax system and these elite people who are like a cancerous growth on our republic and our government are leeching all of the wealth, and they're going to rape and pillage us to a degree that we're not even going to be able to take care of ourselves and our family, and you're just going to be nothing but a battery, right? It's nothing but a battery, like it was in the movie The Matrix. And so they're going to suck every last bit of energy out of you, and you're going to be nothing but just a slave to other men. Even they disguise it to a point where you can't even recognize it. But for those of us that have recognized it, I would rather die than be a slave. When I say give me liberty or give me death, that's not a figure of speech. I do not want to be a slave, and I will not be a slave to these bastards that have managed to get control of our government. And I'm going to do everything I can to speak out against them, and I will willingly fight them to the death if necessary, and I'm going to align myself with God, and I pray for God's will in my life every night. But for those of you that want to be willing, comfortable slaves, I don't want anything to do with you. I'm going to distance myself from you. I'm going to speak out against you, and I'm going to fight you at every tool and every ounce of energy that I have. I am not going to be a comfortable, willing slave with you. That's all I got to say for tonight. I want to stop this short of 15 minutes. So check out agendadocumentary.com. Keep in mind that Saul Alinsky was a community organizer, and he dedicated his book to Lucifer. That's no joke. It's not a cute, funny thing. This is serious stuff. Our battle is spiritual, and keep that in mind. And prayer is what we need right now. We need to repent from our wicked ways and turn to the Lord and pray. So let's keep the faith and keep doing what we should be doing. God bless every one of you. Pray for Terry Lakin. Write Terry Lakin a letter and write Ken Hogan a letter. God bless every one of you.